It's been a while, but welcome back to another episode of Travel Taught Me, another hotel review, and of course, another Anantara hotel review in the UAE. This time, it's Mina Al Arab in Ras Al Khaimah, where I recently spent a long weekend with friends and family. And here's everything you need to know before booking your trip to Ras Al Khaimah. So first things first, the drive from Dubai is about an hour and a half. And you really see the transition from the bright lights and skyscrapers of Dubai to the desert sand dunes as you're driving through the different Emirates and getting to Ras Al Khaimah. I wouldn't say it gets more barren, but it's just a very different feel to it. And it sort of prepares you for the weekend ahead, and that's kind of what I experienced. And as you approach the resort, you have to go through a very calm little housing community, which has a very peaceful and calm feel to it. And that sort of prepares you for life at the resort and the calm and scenic vibes that the resort brings. And then the big welcome. As we entered the resort, we were welcomed with smiling faces of the hotel staff and the wonderful mix of modern architecture with a big window overlooking into the water, mixed with some cultural Arabic vibes, along with the calm and soothing lighting. You really do get that relaxing feel just as you enter the hotel. We were a big group, so I did actually be a bit efficient and do the pre-check-in, which meant that the whole check-in procedure was a lot more seamless, and we pretty much assigned our rooms straight away. Although we did arrive a little early, we were lucky enough to get all our rooms ahead of time. So the hotel was kind enough to accommodate that. Now onto the rooms. There are two choices at the resort. One is the standard hotel rooms, which actually is where we stayed. And the other is, of course, the water villas, which again look amazing and grand. Obviously are a bit more expensive, but also probably not the most practical if you're going with a large group, because you have to probably get 2 or 3. I think the maximum they had was a 2-bedroom, so you need to kind of book a lot more. Obviously, you get really good views. It's also slightly further away from the main hotel site. Another thing to consider, especially if it's hot, you have to take a buggy to get there. But we'll come to logistics and stuff later on, but that's kind of the overall thinking. But we went for the normal hotel rooms in the main compound. The room sizes were pretty average, nothing extraordinary. It had all the facilities. It was obviously fascinating to see, given it's an Anantara resort. We had Bulgari toiletries everywhere, so that was a good fancy feel to it, as is the case with all the other Anantara resorts that have some designer collaborations. So again, another one here at Mina Al Arab. This adds a luxurious feel to the trip. But apart from that, it wasn't anything fancy. We're actually celebrating a special family birthday, but what they did was the staff messed up and kind of put balloons in all the rooms rather than just one room. But that's just one of the things, even though I'd warned them before. But anyways, nothing. It just meant that there were more balloons across all the rooms, so more to celebrate about, but no harm done there. And after checking in, it was time to check out the beach and the pool area. Now we got there in the afternoon. It was pretty hot, as is the case in the spring/summer in the Middle East. So we checked in, went to the beach and the pool area, which is a short walk, or could get there by buggy. Unfortunately, the beach was closed for swimming. Apparently there's a lot of jellyfish. So for safety reasons, they had banned swimming. All the people could just lie on the beach for some sun. A bit too much sun in my opinion, so that's why we didn't really spend a lot of time there. Went to the pool for a bit. Again, it was pretty hot. Had a look around. It's a huge pool. Unfortunately, because it's a family-friendly resort, and there are a lot of families swimming around, so I didn't take videos or anything, but take a couple of pictures of the pool, or while I was having a coconut drink. But that's really it. But overall, the pool is pretty big. Not the deepest pool, but good for families and kids because it's pretty safe from that point of view. Of course, the other facilities, most importantly, as you know, I do like to check out the gym and other sporting facilities at the resort. They did have a huge gym with pretty much everything, all the equipment as needed. You could have fantastic views of the water villas and the water when you're running on the treadmill. So that was an added bonus to kind of motivate you to spend more time on the treadmill, just to soak in the vibes and clear your mind as you're running through with some fantastic views. The only other thing that they had at the resort was paddle courts, but unfortunately the paddle courts were outdoors. And unlike the other, the Ras Al Sarab, I remember, Anantara resort, where paddle was free, here paddle was paid, where you had to pay 150 dirhams or something to book the court and then rent the equipment separately. And of course, it was really hot anyway, so we didn't see the point of going and playing paddle. But that's one thing to consider. It's not free; you have to pay for it in advance. So that, I think, was a bit of a downer as well, because you would expect those sort of things to be included for the hotel guests. But it is what it is. We did spend a couple of days at the resort, which of course meant spending a couple of days exploring the different restaurants in the evening for dinner. So the first day we went for the Asian dinner option, which was at the restaurant called Mekong. Again, the food was fantastic. It was a very dark, vibey restaurant. You kind of get the feel, as there are a few other Asian restaurants, that similar kind of vibe. But the food overall was really good. The service was fantastic. Again, we were a large group, so they catered to us of different age groups, from small babies to adults. So overall, we were very well taken care of. And also the next day, there was a very nice restaurant by the beach, which when we actually went was full, but they accommodated us in a separate area just by the beach to have dinner, and we could order pretty much the same things that were on the menu. So no issues from that point of view again. And in the evenings, as the weather was slightly cooler, it was good to sit outside and outdoors and enjoy the breeze just next to the beach. So that was a very, very good experience, and really the staff went out of their way to accommodate us and help us. So full marks for that. And the food, again, was a bit more continental in the second restaurant. But again, very, very good food. Definitely recommend it when you're staying there at Anantara Mina Al Arab. Of course, most importantly, the breakfast was phenomenal. Again, it was a buffet breakfast with lots of variety, different cuisines, Arabic, Asian, Indian. It was kind of like a proper lunch, really. You had obviously egg station on demand, pancake station. Of course, I had to try that, so I had that, quite a lot of that during my time there. From healthier options to the more heavier options, if you can say that. So overall, the breakfast was absolutely fantastic. Of course, for those of you who have been watching Travel Taught Me videos, know that I am a massive golf fan, even though my game doesn't justify that, but still like to go out there and play a bit. And so of course, just about a 10-minute drive from the resort is the Alhambra golf course in Ras Al Khaimah. So tried that out late in the afternoon / early evening, because they've got floodlights at some of the holes. So got a good mix of day and night golf, which again was a very, very good experience. But I guess that also takes me to the other point, the fact that, I had to go and play golf while being on the resort. Was partly because in the summer when it's hot, we didn't find many activities to do on the resort itself. There are a few water activities. Again, if you were at the beach, you could do that, but there with the whole jellyfish situation, couldn't really go into the water. So people were obviously hesitant to do the water activities, and we just didn't find enough on-site things to do. Maybe they should have had like a, games room or indoor sports, table tennis, something like that, just to keep people occupied and entertain the guests. Of course, it's a fantastic resort, but there's only so much time you can spend in the pool, especially if it's outdoors and when it gets hot. Just some feedback and overall thinking from our point of view. There's of course a spa, but that was fully booked. If you want to use the spa facilities, just make sure you book way in advance, because it's a bit difficult to get that on the spot, especially if you're going on a weekend. So that's a short review of Anantara Mina Al Arab in Ras Al Khaimah. It's a fantastic resort, but definitely recommend you going there, maybe for a short trip. For a longer trip, unless you're just going to chill on the beach, you do after a couple of days start thinking, okay, what else can I do while I'm here? But overall, it's a very calm, soothing experience. Not too far from Dubai or Abu Dhabi. So very easy to get to, and definitely a good way to get a break, recharge, relax in the calm, soothing environment, and get back to the hustling, bustling life in the big cities. So that's my review. Let me know what you think, and if you've been there before, and then how would you rate it. And as you may have noticed, I have now done 3 of the Anantara resorts in the UAE. I'll do a separate video comparing the 3 of them and seeing how it was. But that's it for my review of Mina Al Arab. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.